So I think we are almost live. Oh, we are live. So while we're getting started, we'll start with our introductions. My name is Tori Guen. I'm a senior admission officer here, and we are coming to you live from Brown University.
Hi, I'm Rock. I'm a first year. I'm from New York City, and I work as an MRI, Minority Recruitment Intern, and that essentially means that I help facilitate visits from community-based organizations, and I help the admissions process a little bit.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm a first year at Brown. I am a QuestBridge Match Scholar, currently on campus. I work in our campus eateries, but more importantly, I work with the executive board of QuestBridge at Brown University, and I am on the service committee. So a lot of the things that I do is also focused on community outreach and teaching students within the local high school community in Providence about QuestBridge, but also more about the college application process.
Awesome, thanks guys. So what we hope to do tonight is answer your questions about selective college admissions, answer your questions about aid, and focus on what the student experience is like so far, because Rock and Jenna have almost completed their first semester here. Tomorrow is what?
Last day of classes for the first semester.
Yeah, so we'll talk about those things. So we hope that you'll type in questions to ask us, things that you're curious about. And in the meantime, while the questions are coming in, why don't both of you tell us how you found Brown and what your college process was like?
Well, I ended up applying actually early decision to Brown, but over the summer I visited a couple of schools, kind of decide which school I'd want to apply early to. And I mean, all the schools were similar. They all had like more flexible curriculums, but I felt that Brown's open curriculum really stood out as like kind of, I guess, the one thing that's like, it's just like the most flexible and the most open. And then as well as besides that, in my tour guide was a great person. Everyone seemed very happy there, so I like the whole ethos of the school.
Nice.
So my college process began in the beginning of my senior year, and I really didn't know where I wanted to go to college until I was lucky enough to have learned about a few colleges through QuestBridge. So I was still kind of reluctant because I wasn't able to actually tour a lot of the schools, so a lot of the decisions that I had to make surrounding the college process was about endless research. I discovered Brown because one of my teachers in high school actually showed me a book from a teacher here, and I read the book, and I loved the book, and I was like, I want to be in a school with people who think like this. So after doing research about the professor who wrote this book and also about the school, I put it on my QuestBridge match, and I ended up getting lucky and ended up here. So it was really easy to make the decision.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to open the chat in a second, and before I do, would you guys share what has been the most surprising thing for you about Brown since you've come here? I know I haven't told you the question yet, so maybe you need a second to think.
I guess the most surprising thing for me was, well, I guess about a month ago I joined the rugby team, and I was kind of expecting, like, I guess your typical like team setup where like the seniors are kind of like mean towards the freshmen and everything like that, like kind of stuff you expect in like high school and certain colleges. But everyone just seemed so accepting there. Like they all like they took me to their house, like hang out with them and stuff like that. Like after the first practice was really good. So that was one of my highlights of the year.
And kind of piggybacking off of what Rock said, I feel that I didn't expect upperclassmen to love first years as much as they do. A lot of people are just so willing to help the first years. I'm like, oh, are you a first year? Oh my gosh, tell me about you, or how can I help you? If you have any questions, let me know. And just how teachers are so happy to talk to first years and want to know what you're interested in and just really want to help you. I didn't really expect the focus on first years and undergrads, but it was a really pleasant surprise. So.
Thank you. Awesome. So we have our first question, and it's from Adriana. So hi, Adriana. So your question is there a preference for whether finalists apply with their QuestBridge application or through regular decision with the common application? So this is an application question. You can submit your QuestBridge application when you're applying through regular decision, but we definitely need your common application. So a requirement to apply to Brown through regular decision is your common application, and then you also need your Brown supplement. So that asks 4 questions. Do you guys remember answering those from last year?
The supplement? Or
Yeah.
What about the open curriculum?
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Mm-hmm. So we ask a couple of supplementary questions just to get a little bit more of a picture of who you are. And then you can also choose to upload your QuestBridge application to give us a little bit more information. So we don't have a preference for whether you submit your QuestBridge application or not, but know you do need to submit your common application and the Brown supplement. Okay, let's have a question for you guys that's coming from Sean, who asked, how is the food at Brown?
The food.
Well, some of it's pretty great. Andrew's is amazing. They have really good pizza. It's some of the best pizza I've ever had. And I just think it's great. Thursday pasta nights at Andrew's are the best. And the Blue Room has the best not cupcakes, muffins.
Yeah.
Yes, and really good pastry foods.
I like the Ratty. It's pretty cool.
Do you want to say why it's called the Ratty?
It's called. I actually don't know why it's called the Ratty, but the real name is the Sharper Factory, and they have a lot of options, so it's always good. The desserts are amazing there, and it's just the Ratty. No surprises. It's always a lot of options, so it's great.
Nice. And have you guys been to any restaurants outside of outside of campus dining, like any restaurants in Providence?
For sure. Thayer Street's great. It has best places on earth. Baja's is a great place with pretty much Chipotle but better. That's like the best way to describe it.
There's a Chipotle right
There's
next
also
to it.
Chipotle. So if you like Chipotle, you could always go there. There's this place called Jenna that's a little down the hill that's very good food. It's like Korean food. Yeah.
And there's a lot of good coffee shops.
Mm-hmm.
If you maybe walk like a couple blocks off of campus, there's a street called Wickeden, and it has like these wonderful coffee shops and music stores, and yeah, it's a good coffee culture if you like coffee or tea or bubble tea.
A lot of cozy beverages.
Yes, a lot of cozy beverages.
For those of you who haven't been able to visit campus yet, we are located in a city. So Providence is the capital of Rhode Island, and where Rock was talking about, Thayer Street, is a commercial street that runs parallel to campus. So it's a block away from campus, and then there are a lot of stores and restaurants right there. And then what Jenna was talking about, Wickenden Street, is a little bit further off. Downtown is a 10-minute walk away. So there are a lot of options for on-campus dining and off-campus dining, and they're all really good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move on to Elizabeth's question, who asked about what happens for students who applied through the QuestBridge match and didn't get matched, and how does that happen for regular decision? So this is a question for me. So because we are only able to match with a finite amount of students through the National College match, we actually Sean is saying that you just got hungry. That's funny. So we actually match with a higher number of students outside of the National College match. So we're really excited to look at you in the context of the regular decision pool. We will look at all of the pieces you already submitted, and the great thing is that your application is already finished, and we'll be able to review that. So we will be looking at both your common application and your QuestBridge application, as well as any other supplementary materials that you want to send. You'll probably send along your first quarter grades to let us know how you're doing in your senior year, and perhaps you've even submitted an art supplement. So if you're an artist or maybe a musician, we'll look at all of those pieces through regular decision. So let's answer Tessa's question, asking about how the theater program is, or theater clubs on campus. I'm not sure if either of you are involved in it, or if you know anything about what those are like.
I actually know a little bit about it because one of my mentors is actually a big theater person. And she's I've actually will be attending one of the theater events within the coming when we come back from winter break. Apparently, theater here is wonderful. To that extent, I'm not really sure, but she really loves the community that theater gives her here. And she loves the plays that we do. And I've met a couple of her theater friends, and they're all really wonderful and enthusiastic people. And yeah, they're just great. The environment that you get with theater is amazing, and I think we do actually have a really good theater program to my knowledge. So.
Yeah, so there's both the concentration, so you can concentrate in the performing arts, and then there are a number of different clubs. So I'm not sure which one your friend is in, but there are Shakespeare clubs, and then there are Black Box theater groups.
Yeah, I think she does Black Box theater.
Yeah, so there's quite a range. Okay, so going up to Jacqueline Aguilar's question, talking about taking summer classes, and Jacqueline is wondering if the QuestBridge College Match Scholarship covers these summer classes, or do you have to look outside? So the QuestBridge College Match covers classes for Brown and tuition, but what you can do as a Brown student is apply for grant money to fund other opportunities. So there are so many opportunities to apply for funding outside of a financial aid package, and one of the biggest ones that students apply for is called the UTRA, or the Undergraduate Teaching and Research Award. And so this is awarded to usually over 80% of students who apply for it. And what this means is that you can be funded to do research on campus, do a volunteer experience, or study off campus as well. So there are a lot of opportunities to apply for funding once you're on campus. It's not necessarily in your original financial aid package, but there are those opportunities to apply looking forward. Okay, so we're going to scroll down a little bit. Oh, this is a great question from Amy. Amy is wondering what some of the best events and traditions are at Brown. Have you guys been able to partake in any in this first semester?
Yes.
She also wants to know what your favorites are.
What I've really enjoyed was on Halloween. They have a midnight organ concert, and we have like one of the largest organ of its kind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's called, but
Yeah.
it was actually really cool because the conductor, he came, he did this wonderful walkthrough, and it was it's great. Everyone does it every year. So.
Is it packed?
Yeah, it's always packed. It was really hard to find places to sit here, but it was okay.
Yeah, actually, I didn't go to that one, but I went to the Christmas one that was recently, and that was a little bit of organ, but also a cappella groups performed and everything. They all did Christmas songs, and that was a great time. It's always good to hear them sing. So.
Mm-hmm. And you guys did walk through the Van Wickle gates.
Yes.
So you did the first part of it.
Yeah.
I missed out on that.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately.
Jenna, do you want to say what the tradition is?
So each you walk through the Van Wickle gates, which are like these majestic looking gates on campus 2 times during your time at Brown. One when you first get here, and then one when you graduate. And then also there's like a really funny tradition that the marching band does. So because they have to go through this 2 times a year for when people are commenced and for convocation as well. So they do this about 8 times during their time here, but they actually don't walk through the gates. They cross their arms, they cross their legs, they cross their fingers, and they jump on one foot with their instruments playing because it's not considered walking. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so you only can do it twice. Rock, you're going to have to find your way
Yeah,
through.
I'm gonna have to.
You may have to join a marching band.
I think that's the only solution.
That's the only way, and you can't cross anything. Okay, great. So we're going to move on and answer Ekram's question, who's wondering how you balance schoolwork and extracurricular activities.
So for me, that was a big problem for me in high school. Like I participated in a lot of stuff. I participated in singing, sports, piano in my jazz band, stuff like that. So that was always a big problem for like balancing everything along schoolwork. Here, Brown has a really great advising program. We're able to meet with your advisor, and you're able to like not only get to know them as a person, also like talk about what classes you're taking, your course load, what activities you're involved in, and kind of be able to get a sense of what you're going to be able to manage. Also, most activities here, I mean, if you join them and they're unmanageable, you can always just leave them. So.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people here are pretty understanding that you want to try a lot of things, especially for first years, because transition is a little difficult. quite honestly, I'm still transitioning, but for the most part, if you try things and you realize that they're not in your schedule, people are pretty understanding, and will they'll be willing to help you with that. But that being said, I think that people here are just really want to help you with the transitioning process, and that you can really figure out how much you can bite up off like as much as you can chew, and you can just weigh things out. You'll be okay.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to skip down to Julius's question. And Julius, congratulations. I remember seeing your application in committee and talking about it. So we're really excited that you're going to be part of the class next year. And so you're wondering what both of you concentrate in. So at Brown, we call majors concentration. So he's wondering what you major in or what you concentrate in, and how has the course load been so far?
I'm planning on concentrating in applied math econ. So right now I'm taking Intro to Economics, Math 100, which is like just calculus, Chinese, I'm taking intermediate Chinese, and then philosophy. So I'd say that the course load, it's definitely demanding, but it's fulfilling at the same time, because all these classes are classes I'm very interested in, since I was able to kind of choose them out. And I mean, econ and math are directly related to my major, but I'm still able to kind of pursue other areas like Chinese, which I really want to take throughout college to be able to become fluent eventually, and philosophy, which is something I haven't been exposed to yet. So I'd say even though it's a tough course load, but it's definitely fulfilling and it's manageable.
So I believe I am concentrating in international relations. So currently I am taking Arabic, I am taking Intro to International Politics, I am taking an English class called the Academic Essay, and I'm also taking Introduction to the Modern Middle East. So I agree with a lot with Brad that the classes are very fulfilling, and though the workload is a little tough, it's definitely manageable. I don't feel that if you have a good work ethic and you can figure out what works for you with study habits, the work will never be too much, but it's definitely always interesting. Like, I hardly ever feel that I'm doing homework, but doing something I thoroughly enjoy.
For sure.
Thank you. So I'll take this admissions question from Amy H., who's wondering what we look for in your essays. So what we are looking for is really a sense of your own voice. I think that's the best thing that you can add into an essay. Obviously, you want to spend time on it, thinking about a topic that means something to you, and you also share your essay with someone who you'd want to trust as someone to read the essay, such as a parent or maybe a teacher or a guidance counselor, so they can check the essay and check over for you. But at the heart of it, what we're looking for in your essay is a sense of the things that you are intellectually curious about, your passions. For example, in one of the supplementary questions, we ask about your extracurricular activities, and we certainly want to hear about something that means something to you. So I would say toss out your preconceived notions of this is what a college essay has to be like, and write about something that you're excited about writing about, because when you write something that you're enjoying writing, we'll be able to sense that as admissions readers. So now we'll get another question for the students. What are some of your favorite things that you love about Brown that you found to be very unique here? And this question is from Saku.
Okay. Let me think. There are a lot of things I like about Brown. I guess one of my favorite things, going back to kind of the openness of the community, being able to kind of talk with people about really any subject, and there doesn't really have to be a wall between you and the other person. I was in TWTP, it's this pre-orientation program where they speak about marginalized groups and a lot of, I guess, struggles, and also like just diversity in general. And I felt like that open conversation was very healthy in the community, and I was really able to, I was able to make my first friends there, as well as just talk about really anything. So that was one thing that I thought was unique to Brown. I don't think many other schools have programs like that.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the greatest things about Brown is its quirkiness. So I feel that you'll never find really these social groups because everybody kind of is. Everyone's pretty fluid here. That people navigate through different types of people, and you never meet someone who is kind of static. Everyone here is very. They have a lot of different perspectives, and no one here really has the same exact interests. So you have people that are interested in the same things as you, but everyone here, I feel, is kind of marching along their own beaten path. It's a unique experience. I feel like I've done a lot of my learning with the people that I meet and talk to outside of class. So.
Nice. I think that question is a good segue into talking about the relationships that you've had in conversations to a question that we have from both Ruby and from Fatima, who are both wondering the ways that Brown students act with the local community and what their relationship is like with the surrounding area.
Okay. Well, there are quite a few programs, like outreach programs, where students will be able to do either community service or like working throughout the local community. I know like I'm on the email list right now for this program where you give like music lessons to like underprivileged students, kind of like in Providence. I haven't gone through with that, but I know that's a big thing here. And then there's also like a lot of other SAT prep programs and stuff like that where you could, I guess, kind of give back to the Providence community. I think that's really cool.
And we also have, I'm not involved, but I have a few friends who are involved working with the Swearer Center. So the Swearer Center here at Brown is very focused on doing a lot of public works, and they do a lot of initiatives in the greater Providence community. They do help a lot with students who might come from underprivileged backgrounds, but as well as I know a few people who are actually participating with tutoring refugees. So I feel like there's a lot of different initiatives, and if you're worried about possibly or wanting to like get involved in the greater community, I feel like there is definitely a place for you to get involved in almost every aspect.
Yeah, and one other thing I'll add about the Swearer Center that Jenna brought up is that at the beginning of the school year, I'm pretty sure they do it at the beginning of each semester, but definitely at the beginning of every academic year, they have this huge fair in one of the academic halls where they'll have tables lined up that will offer, that will talk about it, connecting students to tutoring opportunities or to environmental activist clubs or to political activist clubs. I remember when I was there this fall, they even had an opportunity to volunteer with the Children's Film Festival that's held in Providence every year. So there's a huge range of ways for students to interact with community service. And then what I'd add about how we interact with the community, Brown is nestled right in Providence. So we are on the historic east side of Providence, and then downtown again is just a 10-minute walk away. And then there are a bunch of different pockets in Providence, but we're really integrated into the city of Providence. People are always excited to meet Brown students when you go into stores and ask them what they're concentrating in and what their experience has been like. And so it's a very positive relationship. There really aren't barriers. You'll see people walking their dogs or bringing their children to campus and just walking on the main green. And we consider our campus something that we hope everyone in the local area and all of our visitors really can enjoy. So I just saw a question which I think is funny from, I'm guessing your name is Gigi, and it's because I was just asking Jenna how she's getting along with her roommate, but Gigi's asking, what are the dorm arrangements like? What your experience is with your roommate, and do you think you were matched well? And I know this answer. Yes.
Okay.
You go first.
So the dorm arrangements usually have a double, so you have a roommate. The rooms are pretty big generally, and they're nice. So my roommate is from Florida, and I went to a boarding school. I went to Middlesex School. It's in Concord, Massachusetts, and I think they matched me relatively well because my roommate also went to Hotchkiss, which is the school in Connecticut. It's also a boarding school, so we have like similar schooling backgrounds in that sense, and we get along pretty well, and I think we were matched well.
I absolutely love my roommate. Before I came here,
Shout out to your roommate.
Yeah, shout out to my roommate Taryn. Actually, before I came here, we were decorating our room for Christmas and making hot chocolate and listening to Christmas music. Me and her were matched perfectly. We have like relatively the same sleep schedule, the same study habits, and she's just absolutely delightful. And my sleeping arrangements are pretty wonderful because I live in Andrews, which is probably the best first year dorm. So I got really lucky with my housing arrangement this year.
Thank you. So another question for you guys from Chris, who's wondering what a typical Saturday night is like on campus. So if you want to talk about the range of the things that happen.
A lot of stuff going on Saturdays. There's usually a lot of kind of low-key events happening like on campus, whether that's like I think there's like a hot chocolate thing going on sometime this weekend for Christmas. There's also like stuff. There's usually like sport teams, like they might have like gatherings and stuff like that. There's stuff going on in downtown Providence, so there's never nothing to do. There's always a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's always something going on. We have a special thing called Brown Morning Mail. So every morning at 1 o'clock, but hopefully you're not up at 1 a.m. maybe, and you receive a list of things that are going on campus. So usually I read that on Saturdays to see what I'd like to do, but on a Saturday night, I mean, yeah, it's really what you want to do. You can make it whatever you'd like, because if you're a person who likes to study on Saturday nights and likes to have their Sunday, you can do that, but there's so many activities going on Saturday nights that there's always something to do.
Thank you. So I'm going to take this question from Aya, who's wondering if you can resubmit your common application essay if you did rank Brown for the match. And the answer is if you do have an updated essay that you'd like to send in, you can send that, and you can send that right to our main admission account, which is admission@brown.edu. And so if you do have any updates to your application, you can feel free to do that. Otherwise, you can you can leave it because you did work on it a lot, so you can just say, I'm going to let them review my application and regular decision. But again, if there are any updates, you can always email admission@brown.edu, and then we'll attach any of your updates to your application file. Oh, I guess this is a kind of a similar question from Christopher. Again, so if you didn't match with Brown through the match, we will consider you in regular decision. And again, we have your application, so there's nothing else you need to do unless you do have updates, and also making sure that your school sends along your mid-year grades so we can see how you did the semester and make sure that you're keeping your grades up. So this is a question for you guys from Ekram, who's wondering if you can take random classes just to learn things for fun, or you have to take classes related to your major. And this is like the quintessential Brown question. So do you guys want to talk about the open curriculum? Because we really haven't introduced that yet.
Sure. So the open curriculum, it's very unique to Brown. You're able to, there are no core requirements. So that means like some schools, they might require you to take like maybe one STEM class, one history class, like one writing class, something like that. But for Brown, you're able to take, the only requirements you essentially have are the one writing requirement and then kind of just anything that you need to complete your major. So that gives you a lot of credits which you could use on really anything. So like right now, 2 of the classes out of the 4 I'm taking aren't related to my major, and I'm able to take those classes for fun. So it's a really good time. And I mean, also because I chose, my concentration, those are also fun.
Yeah, so I think it's relatively flexible. You have 30, if you take 4 classes for the time that you're here each semester, that's about 32 credits. So my class, my concentration is about 15 if I want to do it with honors. So that means I have about 17 to do with whatever I want. But there's also like flexibility, say that there's something that you really want to study and concentrate in that we don't offer here, that you're actually able to make your own concentration. So say if you have these classes and they don't necessarily satisfy one concentration, you feel like they have this relationship and it's going into a focus that you're extremely passionate about, you can actually make your own degree, essentially. So yeah, it's extremely open, hence the open curriculum.
That's a fitting name.
Yes.
A student who graduated last year created her own independent concentration studying happiness, which combines sociology courses and psychology courses and a really wide variety. So we really want students to be able to explore and actually a number of our faculty comment on the fact that no two Brown students graduate with the same transcript because we don't have any requirements. There are no core requirements. You do have to fulfill a concentration, but other than that, we don't require students to take, say, a language or a computer science course or an international relations course. We really want students to be the architects of their own education and craft exactly what they want to do. One way that this plays out in the classroom is that every student in every class has chosen to be in that class. Out of the 2,000 courses they could have chosen, they chose those 4. And so the way that really manifests itself is in a very engaged learning community where every student really wants to be there, and the professors know that they are teaching students who chose their class, which is very exciting. So I will come down and then ask what your interactions are like with professors. Do they hold office hours? Do you feel like you've been able to get to know your professors? And this question is coming from Sumaya.
So all the professors, they hold office hours usually the same day when you have class, and always announce it after the class is over. So they're very accessible in that sense. And they're very approachable. They're very down-to-earth people. They're people, not just professors. So you could really, I just go to them for anything. If you don't feel comfortable with that, they always have TA office hours as well, and that's a great time. So I've went to a couple of those. And overall, 10 out of 10 and stuff.
Yeah, like the focus on undergraduates here, it's legit. Like you can't get better than Brown in that aspect, I think. And also, like the relationships that you create with professors is really what you make it, because they're gonna always be open to helping you and answering any questions that you have or making themselves available. In some cases, you will have to take the initiative to make a relationship, but that's all relationships, You have to both work at it. So I think your professors would be more than willing to make a relationship.
And Jenna, we couldn't get that piece about the hidden stash of books into the email. Do you want to tell them about that too?
Yes. So actually, I've had a really nice professor that I've met because we have a thing called shopping period here. So I met him in shopping period. I wasn't able to actually take his class, but me and him still talk. And he showed me this little hidden stash of books that English professors just kind of leave for people to take when they like. So, come here, I could show you these books, but it's secret.
It's within the QuestBridge community,
Yeah,
So I'm going to answer a couple admissions questions. So from Amy, Amy asked, what is the most important piece in the application and in the admissions process? So we do a holistic review of applications. We do want to look at every piece of your file, from your essays to your test scores to your transcript to your teacher recommendation letters to your activities. All of those pieces are very important, but the piece that really is the most important is your transcript. So we want to know that you have pushed yourself at your high school, that you've taken rigorous courses, because, as we mentioned before, talking about the open curriculum, we don't have requirements. So we want you to have demonstrated that you are a student who pushes yourself. And so you got through your transcript by taking these rigorous courses and doing well in them, because students at Brown are very independent and do drive their own education. So we really do care a lot about the transcript. We spend a lot of time looking at the courses that you've chosen to take, and then how you have performed in those classes. And then we really, and again, that is just a piece of everything, but it is really important that you've demonstrated that proficiency and that impetus to rigor at the high school level. Another question for admissions is from John, who's asking about the Brown-RISD dual degree program. And the Brown-RISD dual degree program is a 5-year program. You get 2 degrees. One is from Brown and one is from RISD, which is the Rhode Island School of Design. And so this is a great program for students who are interested in design or interested in art, students who want that design background from RISD, but who also are really excited about the open curriculum from Brown. And so what you do to apply for the Brown RISD dual degree program is you apply to Brown, you apply to RISD, and then you have a third piece, which is applying to the Brown RISD dual degree program. So it's 3 different separate pieces that you have to fill out because you guys aren't busy in your senior year. And so through that, that's how your application gets considered. And then financial aid, all institutions seek to meet your demonstrated need. So it's not that you would have to, pay out of pocket for RISD. RISD is also looking to meet your demonstrated need to make sure you can participate in the program. So it's not that you would get just financial aid from Brown and no financial aid from RISD. Really, both universities would be seeking to provide you with that aid. So we'll go back to a student question. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the International Relations program? Because Sean is a little bit curious to hear more about that, probably after he heard your concentration.
Okay, it's wonderful. Since I've only taken 1 class so far, well actually 2 of my classes satisfy the requirements, so I'll talk a little bit about both of them. So for international relations here, you have 5 core requirements to fulfill that concentration. And currently I'm taking the Intro to International Politics, and that class is absolutely amazing. The professor is very outspoken, so she really doesn't hold back with what's going. So a lot of the things we talk about are contemporary issues and how to analyze them. So compared to the learning I've been exposed to before college, coming into this class is very refreshing and has taught me how to look at what's going on in the world in a very different perspective. So that being said, I think that just this class in itself has gotten me really excited for the previous classes that I will take. I am also taking history about the modern Middle East, and that also has taught me a different way to think about history, but more importantly, to think about the issues facing the Middle East. And I think regardless, if you are interested in international relations, you can do a lot of different tracks with it. So you could either focus on the economy, you could focus on cultural, like culture, you focus on governance, you can also focus on just like the diplomacy. So there's actually like a lot of different branches. So if you're interested in like learning about the world from a different perspective, but also like in these different areas of looking at the world, there's definitely a way to do that here. And I think our international relations program is amazing.
Thanks, Jenna. So I'll take this question and then volley it to you from Elizabeth, who's wondering about Life After Brown, which is the Career Lab. So Career Lab, it's Career LAB, and LAB stands for Life After Brown. And then also wondering about how you pick your classes and the advising system. So first, because you guys are just in your first year, perhaps you've interacted with the Career Lab, but maybe not. The Career Lab is a whole center that's right on campus where the Career Lab professionals really seek to connect students to the opportunities they're interested in, whether those are internships, whether those are jobs, whether those are fellowships, and really helping students plan long term. And so you can start working with the Career Lab as early as your freshman year, looking over resumes, looking over cover letters. They'll also help you connect and network with alumni. And then they also plan events where they have recruiters come to campus. So you don't even have to even leave campus to interview. They'll help you connect with companies that you're interested in by bringing them to campus. So they're really seeking to help you build a network and prepare yourself to interview professionally and to present yourself professionally, and then build a network so that you can go into seeking a job or an internship with that support. The last thing I'll add, because I know we're talking to the amazing QuestBridge cohort, is that they do offer a lot of funding. So they will offer funding for unpaid internships and really help you find what you need. They do offer some stipends in case you found a job in a city and it was really expensive and it wasn't where you're from, so that you could pay for housing. So this is kind of related to one of the questions from earlier, but there are a lot of opportunities for funding that aren't only covered in your financial aid package that you can apply for, and many of those can be found at the Career Lab. And then finishing Elizabeth's question about picking your classes and the guidance that you have, what's your experience like during that period?
Well, it's a little hectic at first, but you're guided through it pretty well. Essentially, 2 weeks before the semester starts is kind of where you kind of pre-choose all the classes that you want to take or that you're interested in taking. And the shopping period happens in which you're able to kind of go to whatever classes that you pre-registered for, and you're able to kind of see whether you'd like the class or whether you'd see yourself taking the class, see how the professors and everything like that. It's very helpful though because like online they have critical reviews for a lot of the courses, and you're able to see kind of what the students thought of the courses and whether they recommend it or not. And overall, like it's a lot going on, but it definitely gives you the best like possible way to choose what classes you actually want to take.
So someone told me this really good analogy about shopping period, because really like going to like you're going shopping, so you're like in a place with all these good deals, right? And you're just like, I want to put all of this stuff, like I want it all, you know. So you put it in a bag, a metaphorical bag, and you're like, I like this class, I like this class, I like this class. And when you actually get to the cash register, you're like, do I really need all these things? So like when you're going to these classes, you're like, I really don't need that, or not anymore, you know, and you start taking these things out, and then you like get down to a few classes and you're like, yep, this is exactly what I wanted, you know. So it's like going to a shopping market. That's why they call it shopping period, I feel. So yeah, that's how I picked my classes, and I think that's how a lot of students do.
Yeah, and students will shop a variety of classes, so they can shop maybe 6 classes. They have a pretty good sense of what they want to take, or they could shop 10 classes or 20 classes, and that just means sitting in on different classes and seeing if they are really drawn to a professor's learning and you know, their learning environment, their teaching style, or if they really like the section, or if they want to try making a schedule where all the classes start after 10 a.m. That's cool too. You do what you need.
Yeah.
So we have time for just a couple more questions. So I know we won't be able to answer all the questions here, but what we can do is we'll add the admission@brown.edu email account. And Rock, do you want to talk briefly about your email account too?
Sure. You could reach out to recruitment_interns at brown.edu, and that's the MRI account where you could just any questions that you want to get a student perspective about. Whether it's kind of like the admissions process or what you like or what you want to know about Brown, and you can just reach out to us. And there's a team of minority recruitment interns ready for you.
Okay, great. So if we're not able to answer your question, please do reach out to admission or recruitment_intern at interns at brown.edu. And what we'll also do is we'll add those links right below this video in the comment and description section. So you can click that and send that email. So we'll take just a couple more. So I think there were a couple questions about study abroad, which I think is pretty exciting. So have you interacted with any students who've told you about their study abroad? I know as first years you haven't studied abroad yet.
I know that just because I am taking a language, I've talked to a few people, and a lot of the places that you will study abroad do have language requirements, but some of the other places that actually we have a fair in the beginning of the year that you can go to, and they have like schools and universities from all around the world, and you can actually just go and talk to them like, hey, what would I need to study abroad here, and how could I get funding and whatnot, and people there are pretty open to telling you like what you can or cannot do or what you need, or a lot of places don't even have a language requirement, so they're pretty good at pointing you in the right direction. But a lot of people do study abroad during their time here, that's for sure.
And you're able to kind of study abroad either during the semester or over the summer, and most of the times the classes you'll take there will count towards your Brown degree, so it's not like you're wasting any time in this sense.
Yeah, about 50% of Brown students do have an international experience. So as Rock was saying, that's either during their junior year or that is during the summer. So they will choose that time to study abroad. And then they also, you know, and the funding, which we didn't mention, but all your financial aid will transfer abroad. So I think we'll take one more question, and this is from Lacrimosa Bloomingdale. And this question is, what is Brown's position on social justice? I think right now, I think this is at the forefront of the lines. So do you guys want to talk about what you've experienced and what you've been involved in, what you've seen?
Well, Brown is definitely very vocal about social justice, which is good. You're really able to talk to the student body as well as the teachers really about everything. There doesn't have to be like kind of barriers about certain things. And I mean, regarding certain like recent events, there have been like students been vocal and like there have been like protests and stuff like that. And I think it really fosters kind of the open community that Brown is known for.
And there are a lot of platforms and forums to be able to talk about issues that that are going on in the world contemporarily. And like yesterday, I was studying, and they had an event right below where I was studying, talking about recent events and reactions and reasons as to why these might have happened. And it was very refreshing to see that there are so many places and platforms to actually discuss issues where people aren't. They're just open to talk to you and hear about your perspective and then offer some insight, but it's always very cooperative and nurturing and fruitful.
Thank you. I think there's actually one more question that we should answer, which is from Saku, who's asking about the alumni interview experience and process. I think that this is a great question because an alumni interview is a component of your Brown application. What happens is once you submit your application, you'll be contacted to conduct an alumni interview, and we hope that you do choose to go through with it because it's a great way for you to meet a Brown alumna or alumnus, and then also a way for you to show your own intellectual interests, passions, talk about how you've made an impact at your school or in your local community and the things you're excited about. So I love hearing about how your interaction with your interviewer went when I read your application, and it's also a pretty low-key way for you to learn a little bit more about Brown and even answer and ask some of the questions that you are asking us and have those answered too. So do you guys remember your alumni interview?
Yeah, I was interviewed in the library of my school by an alumni who actually I saw her Brown bearings recently because I think her son's applying.
Okay.
But yeah, so she was really nice, and I was able to I guess connect with her, and she was local, so like we knew like the same places and stuff, and it was very low key. It wasn't like stressful or anything.
And I actually didn't have one. And I just think it's because my application process was so quick, so it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, and again, not everyone gets an alumni interview. About 90 to 95% of students do. It is based on alumni availability, and in certain areas, that's easier to coordinate. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's a quick turnaround. But in general, they're very low key. So the majority of you will get interviews, and we hope you enjoy them. So we will be finishing this live cast, but again, please send your questions that we weren't able to answer to admission at brown.edu if they're admission related questions, or send them to
recruitment_interns at brown.edu if they're related to student life or anything else.
And then so Brock will be able to answer those questions with some other students. And so I know there were a lot of great questions about what the engineering programs were like. I know George, you asked that question, and again, congrats. I remember your application as well from the committee. And some more questions about that. So please do reach out. We also definitely encourage you to spend time on the Brown admissions website and the Brown website, where there are always new articles that are coming up that you can learn a little bit more about us. So is there any last words that you want to say to the QuestBridge group, especially as a QuestBridge scholar, Jenna?
Oh, I just love all of you. I know I don't know all of you, but I love you all. And I really hope that you guys are really excited about the college application process. And don't feel that you're at any disadvantage. Especially being a part of a QuestBridge community does give you so many opportunities, and will give you a community that you probably have never experienced before. And just being a part of people who share a lot of similar experiences to you is gonna help you in ways you don't understand yet, but you will, and you'll be extremely grateful for it. So I don't know if they have my email.
I don't think they do, but they can respond to the admission email that was sent through Jenna, and then we can forward that to you if you want to send any email.
Yes,
to
so
Jenna.
you can feel free to contact me, and I'd be more than happy to just talk or answer any questions about QuestBridge here.
Yeah, enjoy senior year. It's a good time.
It was a good time. And then the last thing that I'll say is thank you so much for tuning in. It was so fun to answer as many of your questions as we could. And we look forward to staying in touch throughout the rest of your application process. And bye from Brown.
Bye.
All right. Okay.